sixth ball comes out. But they've got a ticket with 5 numbers on the first ever lottery draw. Most people's wealth plan is fundamentally flawed. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Money Matters, because as you know, I deeply believe that money matters, not for its own sake. It's for the choices that wealth, that money gives us. And this week, I'm joined by the lovely Abi. Thank you for being here. And we're going to talk about 99% of people's wealth plans.
Yes.
So how does the average person decide, I'm going to be wealthy? It all comes from fools and horses, really, doesn't it?
This time next year, we'll be millionaires.
And what most people do is they cross their fingers like this, smile, off down the off licence or the co-op or whatever, and they're punting their £2.50 on a lucky dip. I haven't been in the UK for a while. Is it still £2.50?
Yes, around £2.
You put and it might be £10, it might be £20, it might be £50 in a syndicate or whatever. And people think, yeah, I'm going to win the lottery and I'm going to tell the boss where to poke it. This is the general theme, isn't it?
That's the general people's wealth plan.
Yeah.
Let's just win the lottery.
Which isn't much of a plan, really, is it?
No.
So the chances of winning the lottery are like, I used to work for Cadbury Schweppes many years ago. The company that runs the lottery is called Camelot. Cadbury's, years ago, used to be a 25% shareholder in Camelot. I was running the Edmonton factory, so I was bottling soft drinks.
Yeah.
But I was a Cadbury's employee. So I was part of, if you like, the parent company was the company that launched the National Lottery decades ago. But this used to be primetime TV. Do you remember any of this? People would gather around their TVs on a Saturday, and there'd be this poxy machine that had these ping pong balls in it, and we're all sat there watching, oh, I wonder which ball's going to come out first. Back in the day, all those years ago, we used to have, at Edmonton factory, we used to have an Easter weekend, and it was like the big event of the year. And so what we'd do is we'd rent some big hotels in Great Yarmouth, and we'd all go there for like a long weekend. We ended up with about 500 people on these Easter weekends. It happens to be, this was the very first drawing of the very first ever National Lottery.
Wow.
So I said to the bigwigs in Cadbury, look, I've got this Easter weekend thing. Could we go mad and could we give the 200 staff a £5 of lottery tickets each?
Yeah.
So we're all in this big ballroom, we've got the TV on, and there's probably more beer being drunk than makes you entirely sensible and rational. And all the boys and girls in the warehouse, they'd formed a syndicate. Okay, so they'd all pooled their tickets.
Yeah.
They've got this desk with all these tickets and they're waiting for the numbers to come up, they're going to strike them all off. I'm over the other side, I can see what they're doing. The first ball comes out, whatever it was. Yay! They've got the first number on this ticket. Second number comes out. Yay! Third number comes out, yay! So they've got 3 in a row. Fourth, fifth, yay! They've got 5 in a row. So they think, Jesus Christ, what's going on here? And then sixth ball comes out. But they've got a ticket with 5 numbers on the first ever lottery draw. They didn't know what the 5 numbers were worth. So the 6 would have got you $1 million or whatever. Yeah. But the 5, they were probably thinking hundreds of thousands or something like this. Yeah. But they didn't know. Next thing I hear, one of them's on the table, drinks are on us for the weekend. And this is typical behaviour of a lottery winner, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Can I remind you, there's 500 people in that room. Next thing, I get a delegation of the warehouse. So I've got the shop steward and 1 or 2 other people. Come up to me. Paul, don't mind if we call you Paul this weekend, because you're not the boss, are you? No, I'm just one of you. Yeah, well, the thing is, Paul, we've just won the lottery. We're all resigning. You can stick your job.
There were 5 numbers?
Yeah. I'm like, fair enough. And they're like, you don't seem very concerned. Well, what do you want me to do? Cry? Plead? Beg? What do you want me to do? You've just all resigned. Happy days. Enjoy. Whenever anyone resigns at work for me because they want to do something better, I only ever have one reaction, which is congratulations. If you've got more money, congratulations. You've got a better job, congratulations. You don't like this and you decided to do something else, congratulations. I don't have any other response. Anyway, the Tuesday comes, on my door, shop steward from the warehouse. Mr. Smith, got some of the boss now. It would appear that some of my members were overly hasty. I'm thinking, you, what? You? And he said, yeah. He said, did some of us resign on Saturday? I'm like, no, you all resign. Yeah, well, the thing is, we've discovered that the 5 numbers only gets us 3.5 grand. And the other thing we've discovered, Mr. Smith, is that one of my members somewhat rashly stood on a table, and I said, yeah, and he shouted out, drinks are on us. He said, so the bar bill is 14 grand. And he said, so, Mr. Smith, he said, I know you're a reasonable and gentle and compassionate character. Would it be okay if the mass resignation never happened? And I said, are they all at work? Yes. So they're working especially hard? He said, yes. I said, well, in that case, I've suddenly developed amnesia, and there was no resignations. And he said, now, Mr. Smith, that was item number one. Yeah. He said, about this bar bill. I said, get out. Anyway, that taught me pretty much all I need to know about the lottery. As soon as people think they've got money, they think they've won endless amounts of money. And what actually happens is that within 12 months, they're skinned, and quite often divorced, alcoholic, bankrupt. Over the years, I've done some work with the PFA, Professional Footballers Association, and I can't really, and almost, if you're a professional footballer, like, if you're one of the stars at Chelsea or Man United or Man City, you earn like 600,000 a week, plus, that's salary, plus endorsements and your sponsorship and whatever. Some of these, they're on like $1 million a week. That's like winning the lottery every week. Say you make 50 million a year, say. You start playing proper football 20, 22 years old, and you do it for 10 years. That's 500 million. It's $500 million. Do you know the shocking thing? Within 1 year of finishing playing, 30% of them are bankrupt. Not hard up, not a bit tight, because they've spent 10 years playing football to a professional level, 10 years learning how to spend at world-class levels of expenditure. So if you're going to be wealthy, it's not actually really so much about, yes, it's about what you earn, but it's massively about how you use that money, what you invest in. Most people's wealth plan is fundamentally flawed. For yourself, Abi, we've known each other 6-7 years.
Yeah.
There was a low point in your life, wasn't there, where you weren't feeling particularly wealthy?
No, because I was skinned and heavily in debt.
Do you want to just maybe explain to internet land what happened?
I worked as a corporate manager for a long time, worked in a corporate role, had a big salary, but me and my husband had the big salary, but we also liked to spend, and nobody had ever taught us what we should do with money, so we lived and we spent. I decided to divorce my husband at the time, and ended up in 24 grand worth of debt, living in a little tiny rented house with me and my 2 children, who were 3 and 6 at the time.
And how many years ago was that?
About 7 years ago.
7 years ago. We started the conversation about potentially you investing in property, and initially you were quite resistant, weren't you? You didn't want to do it.
No, it just seemed too good to be true, and then it was too risky, and then all my life you taught to play it safe, and I played it safe. I'd had the big corporate career, I'd built up, me and my husband felt that we were doing really well, and we were working all the hours and stuff, but we never actually made wealth. But what property was suggesting to me was just so scary and so unimaginable. I
know you as a couple, you and your ex, were in the position that he in particular was so focused on overpaying the mortgage to get it paid. So any spare pennies were just to pay off the mortgage, weren't they?
Yeah, that was it.
And that was his entire wealth plan, get that mortgage paid off. And since 2017, I found it fascinating. There's roughly 70% of people own a property, or got a mortgage, or they own a property. 30% of people rent in the UK. Of the 70% of people that own a property, 37% have paid that mortgage off.
Wow.
And 33% are still paying the mortgage, but most of them are overpaying the mortgage because they want to pay the mortgage off. What is this obsession, the national obsession with paying your mortgage off, do you know?
Just because you get taught that don't have debt, and you get sort of told that, mortgage isn't the best debt, so just get rid of it as fast as you can.
But it's not true, is it?
No, it's not.
I think that to call debt is to oversimplify. In my world, there's good debt and bad debt.
Yeah.
And Sir Richard Branson, billionaire, had an objective. We can read all about it in his 2 autobiographies. And he wanted to be a billionaire, but he also wanted to owe £1 billion. Because simplistically, if you can borrow money, let's keep it simple, 5%, but you can use that money to make 10%, what's 10% of $1 billion? It's 100 million.
Yeah.
So 5% is 50 million. So if you could borrow $1 billion at 5% and use it to make 10%, you're making 50 million a year.
God, yeah.
Which is $1 million a week.
Yeah.
Which is more than it's what a Premier League footballer earns. Yeah. But you haven't actually kicked a ball about. All you've done is borrowed £1 billion. So the challenge isn't to not have debt. The challenge is to be able to determine between good debt and bad debt and actually know what to do with those funds. The thing that you've cracked and the thing that you're now very good at is deploying capital to earn more return.
Yeah.
And it was all very nasty and scary and am I going to go bankrupt? And for you initially, wasn't it? But 3 years ago, 4 years ago, you started seriously learning about it.
Yes.
And what I'd like to suggest for anyone that's watching this and wants to transition from where Abi was to where you are now, because just briefly, where are you now? What's the value of your property portfolio and income from it?
Property portfolio is around 5.2 million, and I earn net, and this is without me getting up or doing anything. I could just stay at home all year, about 190,000 net profit a year from my portfolio.
Check her out. What do you think of what Abi's done? In the comments below. You've done all that in less than 4 years, haven't you?
Yeah.
Brilliant. And you didn't suddenly win the lottery or rob a bank or whatever. How much money did you start that journey with?
About £200.
£200. Well, funnily enough, many years before that, when I left home at the age of 17, so that would be, 41 years ago, I left home with 170 quid. That was it. And anything I've ever done since then is on me.
Yeah.
Good and bad. What Touchstone's done is it's developed a fantastic tool, free for you to use. It's called a wealth appraisal. What you need to do is click on the link. It's going to take you, less than 5 minutes to fill it in. Answer a few questions, multiple choice questions. But what you're then going to get direct to your inbox is a personalized 30+ page report on how you can become wealthy. What habits, what leverage, it really nitty-gritty of how you can start the journey to become wealthy. I mean, you've done the wealth appraisal. What do you think?
Brilliant tool. Really, really good. It assesses everything that you need to know to bridge the gap from where you are now to where you want to be.
The final thought I'd like to leave you with I've met Sir Stelios now, the EasyJet guy, a few times. And last time Annika and myself were talking to him, we just said, so how many easy companies have you got? EasyJet, Easy Hotel, Easy...
Yeah.
He's got Easy Pet as well.
Easy Pet?
Yeah, he's got all sorts of things. I said, how many easy companies have you got? And he said, about 50 of any substance. And what he means by any substance is they make multiple millions per year. And I think he's a really good role model because he's joined something called the Giving Pledge. He's a billionaire and he's joined the Giving Pledge. And what that means is he's committed publicly to giving away 50% of his wealth and income to good causes.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't manage it before he dies, then it's in his will. So it's going to happen. I don't know about what you think. I would love for every one of you to make $1 billion so that you can give 500 million to help other people. I just think that's a good thing to do. But here's the important thing. Most people don't try and become wealthy through property or wealthy at all because they're afraid of failure. I'm going to look stupid. My friends are going to take the mickey out of me. Sounds too good to be true. All the stuff you were talking about. Yeah. No such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah.
And so Aniko actually asked him, in order to get your 50 successful companies, how many companies do you have to start? And he said 250.
Wow.
4 out of every 5 of his companies failed. And the more wealthy, really wealthy people that I meet, the more of them that I genuinely come to understand, they're not afraid of failing, they're afraid of not failing. Because if they don't fail 4 times, they're not going to succeed once. No. And what I love about property is that, over the years, over the last 40 years, I've probably failed 6 times, but I've succeeded more than 1,000 times. Yeah. If you're going to be an internet entrepreneur or stock market or whatever, yes, you're going to fail 4 times out of 5. But property is such a safe asset class. Yeah. You're going to succeed 99 times out of 100, or more in my case. Especially if you've got the education. Anyway, from me, from Abi, fill in that wealth appraisal. Get your report and map out, it will map out for you, but commit to taking those steps to become wealthy through property. I'm glad I did, and I think you're moderately glad you did.
Yeah, and I'll just say, get a better wealth plan than what 99% of other people are doing. Just wishing to win the lottery, this will give you your wealth plan. Well,
yeah, their wealth plan costs them £2.50 a week and sends them skin if they actually manage to win. This one is free. Anyway, you've been wonderful. We've been Paul and Abi, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.